and happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Christmas is right around the corner, which means it's almost the end of the year, and that means Kevin and myself, Lauren, are getting ready to do our top 10 movies of the year.
Right, and we are, if you're just finding us for the first time, we're a married couple. We've been married for over 2 years now, and we both met in a movie theater. We're both film critics. Our dog is named Oscar. He's right below us.
Yay!
But we see over, Lauren has seen more movies than I have, but we see well over 100 films a year. Lauren's at 160 something.
I think I saw 163 films this year that were just new, not including rewatches.
And I probably saw close to 120, 130-ish, depending. I'll have to look at my list, but but this is a compilation of our top 10 favorite films of the year. So I want to establish that this is favorite versus best. So this is
partly favorite and best.
Oh, well, for me, it's favorite. I mean, there are movies on this list that I do consider the best of the year. But there are films that aren't going to be here that you're going to be like, what are you talking about? But remember, this is a personal list.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, I would agree that my 10 films that I have on my list, I do consider to be 10 of the best films of the year. But favorite list is a very personal thing for a lot of people, clearly.
Yeah, and we're gonna count down from 10 to 1. We're gonna do highlights of our picks from 10 to 6, right? And then do a little bit more detail in our picks from 5 to 1.
Right. So that way the video isn't so crazy long. We're gonna do 10 to 6
that
quickly.
That way you don't tune out.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And we're gonna do like 10 to 6 quickly, and then we'll hit 5 to 1 in more of an intimate discussion. So. Lauren, you go first. Yeah, you go first.
I want to say, I think we have 5 that match on the list, maybe not in the same spots, and 5 that are different. So that should be kind of interesting.
Yeah. That's the cool thing. People ask me all the time, do Lauren and I agree on every movie? And we don't. I mean, there are films that we agree on for the most part, but then there are sections of films that we find different than the others. So.
Yeah, but I'll go ahead and start. My number 10 pick of the year is Green Book. I saw this at the Middleburg Film Festival, expecting to just kind of go in, see a movie that I knew was going to be, pretty good. Absolutely blown away by Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali, and what I liked about it is director Peter Farrelly, who's done, Dumb and Dumber, There's Something About Mary. He was able to take this drama, but also add a lot of comedy to it and made it very raw and real, and between the two of them I could just watch them for hours. And it's obviously based on a true story set in the 1960s, and if you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend it. I absolutely loved it. I can't wait to see it again. I think it's a really good film to watch around the holiday too.
Yeah, I like Green Book. It definitely didn't make my top 10, but I do want to give credit to Peter Farrelly for what he pulled off.
Yeah.
I do think that it doesn't surprise me that he made this movie, considering I've always found films like Dumb and Dumber and Something About Mary to have elements of drama, which I thought were very well done inside of a raunchy comedy. I think obviously Green Book finds comedy in reality and very natural situations. It's a little bit different source of comedy, but I thought it was very well done. And I understand his brother Bobby obviously couldn't work with him on this movie, but I wish Bobby could have been along for the ride for this, because I think this is going to be a gigantic Oscar film for
Definitely.
Peter, and we're
lots
hoping,
of nominations, I think, for it.
And I hope Bobby returns with Peter hopefully soon to do more work. Yeah.
What's your number 10, Cookie?
My number 10 is Spider-Man. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I love this movie. I think the animation is revolutionary. You're combining 3D, 2D, matte paintings, hand-drawn animation. It's a revolutionary film because the whole point of it is that anybody can wear the mask.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember Jake Johnson speaking on the idea that he has 2 twin daughters, and when they first knew he was playing Peter Parker or Spider-Man, they were excited, but they didn't really know how to play it, and now they can be Spider-Gwen, and there's Miles Morales and Spider-Man Noir. There's a bunch of different types of Spider-Man.
Nick Cage is great.
Yeah,
it's Spider-Man Noir.
Amazing film. That's my number 10.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I think I think it's beautifully animated, and I loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. But definitely a great Spider-Man film for sure.
All right, let's rush through 9 to 6, and then we'll get more into depth on 5 through 1.
Let's go back and forth. What's your number 9?
No, you go number 9.
I'll go number 9 first. Ladies first. All right, I know Kevin hasn't seen this yet, but Destroyer.
Right.
Kevin, we need to watch it this holiday season. Nicole Kidman in Destroyer. So it's from a female director, Karen Kusama, who's done Ian Flocks, Jennifer's Body, and
Jennifer's Body.
Yes, love Jennifer's Bodies, and I think that she was a perfect choice to do this film. I saw this at the world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival back in September. Nicole Kidman is completely unrecognizable. And honestly, without getting into too much detail about the story, it is a thriller. But why it's making my top 10 is because it's a love story as well. And I honestly think that that's part of the reason why Kevin is really going to like it as well. Sebastian Stan, Toby Kebbell, great cast. Love Nicole Kidman. I hope she's nominated for an Oscar for this because, I mean, she's just been having an amazing year between this and Boy Erased. But literally, I'm a Nicole Kidman fan for life. Absolutely loved her in Destroyer, and it's my number 9.
And shout out to Bill Corso, who did the makeup effects for Deadpool,
amazing.
but also did the makeup effects, I believe, partially for, at least most of it, I think, for Nicole Kidman. He posted a photo on his Instagram when they showed her picture initially of what she looked like in Destroyer. I'm going to go through this fast. So number 9, Black Panther, loved it. Ryan Coogler, big fan of his work, loved Fruitvale Station, loved Creed. Black Panther has one of my favorite continuous tracking shots of 2018, the action shot in the casino during the main fight scene with Andy Serkis. Really cool moment, number 9 for sure, and a big film that obviously had a very big cultural impact, but also was very entertaining. I think Michael B. Jordan deserves an Academy Award nomination for Killmonger. I think it's one of the most layered villains of the year.
Yeah, and my number 8 is Black Panther. So I absolutely loved it, thought about it for a long time. We saw it back in February, and if you go to my site, dcfilmgirl.com, I list all of my favorite performances of the year, and Michael B. Jordan is my favorite supporting actor performance. He just absolutely kills it. Honestly, great cast around. I mean, we love the director, Ryan Coogler, so much, and Black Panther was revolutionary, and you might find some other superhero films on our list as well.
Yeah, definitely. All right, number 8 for me is Bohemian Rhapsody. I understand this film was very divisive for a lot of people because of the factual elements of it, but I mean, if you're not aware, most films that take on true stories do mess with the timelines and factual elements of real-life stories to make it into a 2-hour film. It's not a documentary. We're not watching a 2-hour documentary on Freddie Mercury's life, which would be impossible. This is a movie that, in my opinion, celebrated Queen, and I think Live Aid is one of the most incredible recreations I've ever seen. That particular sequence alone is why that movie made my list. I think Rami Malek is just outstanding.
So amazing, and I'll get into that later. But my number 7, another film that is not on Kevin's list, is A Simple Favor. I'm not sure how many people are going to put this in their top 10, but literally this is a movie where I walked into the theater, I read the book by Darcy Bell, absolutely loved it. Literally no other actresses in the world better to play these roles than Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively. Blake Lively gives my favorite supporting actress performance of the year. It's like my favorite performance she's ever done, and she's great in everything. I'm obsessed with it. Director Paul Feig kind of, obviously has done comedy in the past, but this is more of like a black dark comedy. Has a little bit of Gone Girl vibes, but highly recommend it. So fun to watch on a date night, girls' night, by yourself, whatever. I absolutely love A Simple Favor, and I've seen it twice this year, and I love it. Yeah. I literally can't say enough good things about it because I'm obsessed with it.
No, it's really good. Alright, so yeah, and I like that movie too. I thought it was well done. I think I like Paul Feig.
You had fun with it.
Yeah, I had fun with it.
Yeah.
I like Henry Golding. Alright, so number 7, Black Klansman. I think that Spike Lee is just, I think this is my favorite Spike Lee movie since probably Do the Right Thing. Now, I know he's had amazing films in between there with Malcolm X and 25th Hour, but I thought Black Klansman was just, it just stuck with me as much as Do the Right Thing did in regards to the powerful elements of what it was portraying with its characters. I think John David Washington did a brilliant job.
So good.
I think he was so great because while he is Denzel Washington's son in real life, you forget that when you watch the film. He's that powerful performer. I thought Adam Driver's arc in that movie was amazing. And the movie was oddly funny in the sense of like it found avenues of comedy. It's a very serious film that deals with very serious subject matters. And once the ending of Black Klansman hits, you're not laughing, obviously, because it's a very powerful roundup of what Spike Lee was trying to do with that ending. But in between all that, there is some very funny moments, but also some very serious moments that just combine to a very entertaining film overall. But you're left with a very powerful feeling, and amazing job, Spike Lee.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the best, screenplays of the year as well. I really had a lot of fun with Black Klansman, and I agree with pretty much everything Kevin said. So my number 6 is Bohemian Rhapsody. I know Kevin had it listed as well. But I saw this film in a full audience in Los Angeles by myself because Kevin, I think, had to see something else at the time, and I was just completely blown away. I felt like I was watching a concert. Obviously, I know everybody knows all the Queen songs. Really didn't know that much about Freddie Mercury, honestly, much about the Queen band. And I think this movie got a lot of flack because people are like, oh, it's not serious enough to be a Freddie Mercury film. It's not R-rated. And it, had problems like that. But in my opinion, it was about the band Queen, how they formed the songs, obviously the drama surrounding that, and it was honestly just such a crowd pleaser. I personally feel like Freddie Mercury would be happy with the overall film. I think he would have wanted to see a film about himself in this light and the band versus something a little bit darker. Every band member, in the world has had probably darker elements in their past, but I absolutely loved what was done with the film, and I'm hoping for an Oscar nom for Rami Malek because he's just amazing. I think I've seen the movie like 3 times so far. I'm obsessed with it.
I'm going to speed this up. Really, Deadpool 2, number 6. Love David Leitch, love Brolin, love Ryan Reynolds, love Deadpool. Great sequel. Go to number 5.
All right, so my number 5 is The Favorite.
Yeah, great movie.
It's so great. So I absolutely love The Favorite, and what I love about it is this director, Yorgos Lanthimos, I'm sure I'm killing his last name, but this is the best film I have seen from him. I thought The Lobster was okay. I thought The Killing of a Sacred Deer was okay as well, but this film combines, I love period dramas. I pretty much see every period drama that comes out during the year. Why I'm putting this one on my top 10 and as my number 5 is because it combines so many different elements. It's funny, it's kind of horrific at times, the costumes are amazing, cinematography is gorgeous, score, and I love that these 3 women, Olivia Colman as Queen Anne is technically the star of the film, but Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone have just as much leading power because they're so great and they just command the presence while they're on screen. It's just unlike any other period drama I've ever seen in recent memory, and I think that all of the women are just absolutely fantastic, and honestly, it deserves all the nominations. It's just so amazing, and it's really, the romantic element's really interesting too. When I was watching it, I wasn't expecting all that, but I honestly don't want to say too much about it because I think that it should shock people the way I did. Yeah. And I love the end scene as well too.
Yeah, Favorite's really cool. Love the way he uses fisheye lenses. The scope of the shots are amazing.
You loved it when you walked out of it.
Yeah, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
From a visual standpoint, it was absolutely incredible. Just the way he would track his shots like a leading character. My number 5 is Infinity War. I think, the Russos are juggling dozens of characters flawlessly. It is just a masterclass in editing. You're talking about a villain very similar, in my opinion, to the way Killmonger was layered. I felt Thanos was layered in the sense of you have an understanding of what the villain's doing, whether you agree or disagree with it. There's a relatability to the idea of the emotional aspect of what the person's doing or the character is doing. So to me, when you make a villain as layered as Thanos, and Brolin does such a great job, obviously with the voicing and the performance capture of that, and the Russos, just the way they edit, I've never seen a film move this way. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes or so, and it felt like it was 45 minutes. Yeah. And I just found myself just blown away by how every single shot and moment and breath was important. So it's also a film that, and I can't remember who said this because I don't want to steal it, but this is where the villain wins. In the sense of like Infinity War is one film, and there was a discussion about whether or not it was too much of a cliffhanger. That's the discussion we were having on a podcast I do called Real Blend with my buddy Sean and Jake, and we're talking about it being a cliffhanger. But also, it's a
final ending, though.
It is a beginning and an ending. Yeah, that's the beauty. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Is that people are like, oh, it's a cliffhanger to the next one, so it's not really a complete movie because Endgame will be the completion. I'm like, no, Infinity War is really the beginning to end. I love that movie. So my number 5.
So my number 4, again, have no idea if it's going to be on anyone's list, but it's a Netflix film. To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Yeah. Absolutely love this film. I'm not kidding. I've probably seen it 5 times. Lana Condor and Noah Centineo are just absolutely amazing in it. I just can't say enough good things about it. I'm a huge romantic comedy person, and I think this film reminded me of some of my favorites of all time, like She's All That, Can't Hardly Wait. I honestly feel like they do not make romantic comedies like this film anymore. And it, of course, stars, an Asian American as a lead, which we never get to see. And I mean, like, obviously Crazy Rich Asians was big this year as well, and we both love that film. But, like, I just am so obsessed with To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I actually did not read the book. I do plan on reading the book, sometime after the new year, but I just think that they have such great chemistry. I'm so excited that they announced a sequel. And like I said, I'm just putting this I couldn't not put this in my top 10 because this is the movie I've seen most throughout all 163 movies I've seen so far this year. And that says something. That says, I love watching these characters together. I just love, like, the romantic, the family elements in it. And it's streaming on Netflix, and I just literally cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah, it's really good. I loved it too. And one thing I want to mention real fast about Infinity War is I forgot to mention, I think Thor's entrance into Wakanda
is the best of his character.
The best scene of the year, and one of my favorite scenes of the year. So, all right, my number 4 is Roma.
Also a Netflix film.
Yeah, a Netflix movie. I love this movie beyond words. It's hard to explain why I love this film in a very short period of time, but I just think Alfonso Cuarón just speaks to you beautifully, poetically through his camera lens and the Alexa 65mm. He's DPing the film and also directing the film. It's two of the most incredible scenes I've seen in a film all year. I won't go into what those are, but specifically a beach sequence, which is just astounding how he did it in one tracking shot. I still don't understand how he did it. But the movie is really more a slow burn. It's a film that requires patience in regards to it's not flashy and it's not comedically action-packed. It's a very slow burn in a film that you kind of have to stay with and actually pay attention to.
Yeah.
But it's masterfully done. I've seen it 3 times. I can't wait to see it again. I'm trying to go see it in 70mm out in LA, hopefully in January. But it is, I mean, the opening shot alone is like a 5-minute shot of somebody washing a garage floor. I mean, but it's done. But I don't even say that in a jokey way. I say that in the sense of, like, it's done so poetically as you watch this water wash over the garage floor, and then
every shot means something.
And then the image of the roof opens up. You see the planes coming by. I mean, even dog poop plays a character. I mean, this all sounds ridiculously funny, but it's not. I mean, like, these are all actual things that he has made into very interesting story points.
It was a personal story for him. Yeah, I really liked Roma too, and it was for me personally, and I have seen it twice, and I actually enjoyed it more the second time around because I kind of knew what was coming, and I was able to study the cinematography more. And I highly recommend seeing it on Netflix and theaters wherever you can see it. It was just personally, like, very tough for me to watch, at some parts. But I mean, like, I want to say, do not be turned off by the fact that it's black and white, and do not be turned off by the fact that it's subtitles, because I definitely think that it's a film that everybody should see.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out, which is interesting, is I'm a very big theatrical advocate. I think people should go to the cinema to see movies. But this Netflix experience with Roma has really opened my eyes to the way people see and view films. I was at a Q&A with Alfonso Cuarón and Yalitza, who plays the leading actress Cleo in the film, and she talked about this idea that her family, where her family lives in Mexico City or Mexico area, is 3 hours away from a movie theater. So that's the idea that this film has given a global reach to audiences who will watch this film is pretty incredible. And I've seen it in theaters twice, once on Netflix. The story resonates both ways.
Yeah.
But if you can get to a cinema, please do. But I'm not going to sit here and sit on a high horse and say, go to a cinema and see it, because if you can't, you can't. Just watch the movie regardless. Yeah. But if you can, see it in a movie theater.
All right, yeah, Roma's great. I mean, so my number 3, again, Kevin had it on his, but I have it higher, is Deadpool 2. Literally, the superhero movies this year are just absolutely amazing. Deadpool, the first one, which came out in 2016, was in my top 5 as well. And I literally think the sequel is just as good, if maybe not better than the first one, which is so hard to do, especially for a superhero film. So, Ryan Reynolds, Sassy Bates, it's Sassy Bates.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Josh Brolin, I mean, everybody's just so, Peter, the guy who plays me, everybody's just so good in the movie. And, again, like, it's a movie that I love because I love the love story element, and all of the scenes are amazing. I will literally Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool to, you know, like The Day I Die. I'm just absolutely obsessed with it. And Josh Brolin's like pretty much amazing in everything this year.
Yeah, he's great. I remember interviewing Zazie Bates and asking her how to pronounce her name. It's interesting because Bates. There's a way to say it. Yeah, or Zazie. I think
it's Zazie Bates.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
When you interviewed her.
I asked her how to say it. It's in my interview somewhere.
She's amazing in it as Domino.
Incredible.
I'm obsessed with her. But yeah, no, the movie's amazing. Highly recommend it. One of the best superhero films of the year.
Yeah, so my number 3 is First Man, which I've kind of going back and forth with where I wanted to put this, either 2 or 3, because I saw it 4 times in the cinema. It is, I mean, Damien Chazelle is just... it blows my mind where he's at his age as a filmmaker. I mean, he's working at a level that I'm just in awe of. The gentleman is using no green screen whatsoever in First Man. He's giving you a documentary type of style of what it was like for Neil Armstrong, these amazing astronauts, to go to the moon, but also the sacrifices that took place prior to that to allow them to go to the moon. It's a very patriotic, beautifully American story. That, in my opinion, just really kind of highlights the American heroes and sacrifices that they made in order for this Apollo 11 mission to occur. And Gosling's amazing. There's the Gemini 8 sequence where we're in the cockpit, Super 16 millimeter camera. Never leave the cockpit for the launch. The only perspective you have is Neil Armstrong's perspective from that cockpit. Projection screens outside the practical modules and things like that to make it look like they were actually experiencing space and takeoffs. Very cool.
And Claire Foy, who plays his wife, is amazing.
Yeah, Claire Foy is amazing. Justin Hurwitz's score is the best score I've listened to this year.
It is the best score of the year.
I look at the moon now and I always think of that music, and seeing it in IMAX, watching it jump to the full 143 as we, you walk out of the capsule or the onto the moon with Neil, or Ryan's character, is just amazing. And Gosling actually had the real Capcoms in his ear, so he could hear the real communications that were taking place between Neil Armstrong and NASA at that time. And then his lines were taken out, and then he would say them.
Kevin literally knows like so much about filmmaking. It blows my mind, and he'll remember these details forever.
Cool. I just love it.
I really enjoyed First Man. I saw it at the premiere in Toronto, and I saw it a second time here at the premiere in DC, and liked it even more the second time. I think it's just a beautiful human American story, and the cinematography is beautiful, and I honestly feel bad for people who have not seen it in the full IMAX because it's just breathtaking. Highly recommended and liked First Man. But my number 2 is A Star Is Born, and we're wearing our Jackson and Allie shirts because, I mean, obviously Kevin hasn't said A Star Is Born yet, so who knows where it is on his list.
Well, let's just combine it. I mean, they're both number 2.
Both are number 2, and I mean, literally, this film is just so perfect. First time, Bradley Cooper has directed a film. He's absolutely amazing. He's unrecognizable in this role. This story has been told 3 times prior. This is without a doubt the best, version of this story, but they do such a different job with it. We've listened to the soundtrack countless times, I can't even tell you. We dressed up as Jackson and Allie for Halloween because the film resonated with us so much. I had a Halloween costume picked out. I'm like, I have to do this as well because this film was just so important to us and amazing. Lady Gaga, Sam Elliott, Dave Chappelle, literally a perfect ensemble, and I just feel like so emotional hearing the songs, watching their story, and it is a great film about music, but it really is underlying about addiction and abuse and kind of having a rough childhood. And I just think Bradley Cooper highlights that element beautifully, but also telling us the romantic story as well. And Bradley Cooper and Gaga have such good chemistry. Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is an amazing movie. Everything she said, I agree with. Everything Lauren said, I agree with. I found that this film was very emotional for me. I don't know what happened to me. I was in a really, I guess, good place when I watched it, and it just kind of hit me, and I was crying for like 30 minutes when the film ended. I remember sitting in that theater.
He saw it without me, and I saw it without him, which was crazy.
Yeah, and I couldn't move. It was like it was pretty surreal. And also it's a testament to the combination of taking music and filmmaking and making the magic they made in this film. And I think Cooper, the way he directed this film, he talks about being behind Lars Ulrich at a Metallica concert and looking out at a show and kind of having that feeling of being on stage.
See
and
these
giving
details that Kevin will remember forever.
Yeah, and then giving the audience that perspective, but also like the idea that he went to real concerts and actually went on stages in between real sets and with real audiences and made these shows look as realistic as possible. The way it's shot, it's just, I don't know, it's so well done. The final shot is incredible.
So good.
And I won't give away what the meaning is, but it's very fascinating if you want to look it up, why the character does what the character does in that sequence. But Cooper, to me, is the best performance of the year.
Easily.
No question. I mean, he disappears completely in the role. There's no... I can't even see Bradley Cooper on screen. Gaga, anybody who says that she's playing herself. I was, again, to reference a podcast I do with two of my friends. We were discussing this the other day, and my buddy Sean said, she's the biggest star in the world, yet...
Done several concerts.
Yeah, done several concerts in front of big crowds, yet when she comes out on stage and does that sequence with Shallow with Bradley Cooper, she's playing it like a nervous person who's never done that before. That's just the pure acting of what it is. So if anybody is saying Gaga is just being herself, it's the complete opposite.
And she's not being herself, because Gaga even says, myself is with my full makeup on. Like, being with no makeup is, like, completely uncomfortable for me.
It's a complete 180 from who Gaga is. And she's even talked about this. Her character is unlike her, because in real life she was trying to get famous. Not famous, but she was trying to get her songs played on the radio. So... it's a phenomenal film that was lingering at around 2-3 my entire year. Actually, I guess it's September, so that's my number 2 as well. Yeah,
and then, so it was extremely hard for me to really place a 1 and a 2, even a 3 this year, but I was debating between A Star is Born and my number 1 film, and I had to go with Avengers Infinity War. I cannot remember the last time I had a superhero film as my number 1, but after I saw Infinity War in Los Angeles with Kevin, my jaw was on the floor. I was just absolutely shocked. There's not really one lead star actor of the film. It's a complete ensemble performance, and I just think that Josh Brolin as Thanos in performance capture is one of the best performances of the year. And like Kevin said earlier when he was discussing it, it's like, we kind of like Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan in Black Panther, we understand kind of why this character does what he wants to do, because I'm sick and tired of watching movies where the villain just wants to kill 1/3 of the world or kill half the world, and it's like, okay, they're bad, whatever. He actually has reasoning, and there's storytelling built behind this. 2 of my favorite performances of the year as well also go to Zoe Saldana as Gamora and Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I know it's an ensemble performance, but those 2 actors particularly stuck with me throughout the year, as well as Josh Brolin, of course, and Endgame is one of my most anticipated movies of the year next year. I literally can't wait. I've probably seen Infinity War 4 or 5 times, and it's unlike any superhero film I've ever seen. Literally get goosebumps talking about it. I mean, like, I haven't felt this way about any movie leaving the theater this year like I have Infinity War, and that's why I decided to put it at my number 1, because I was absolutely blown away with it.
Yeah, and it's a great choice. Infinity War was in that top 5 for me ever since I saw it. My number 1 is Ready Player One, and I think...
Great movie.
Been my number 1 since... I'm surprised it's not on your top 10.
It's in my... It would be top 15, but I have to pick 10.
This movie, when I was 8 years old, I saw Terminator 2 for the first time, and when I saw that movie for the first time, it ignited a fire in me that was just, like, I just wanted to be somehow in the know of filmmaking and how movies were done. Ready Player One kind of brought back that feeling I had when I was 8 years old. I just love what Spielberg did with the book. I love the book so much.
I've read the book. I did not.
As Kaminsky shooting 35 mil in the real world, and then having that digital jump into the Oasis and that pristine look. And to me, Ready Player One is an entertaining movie, but it's also a very interesting film and what it's saying about our society and how and I'm guilty of this, everybody's guilty of this, I think, where we live on our phones a lot, and that world is not real. The phone and digital world, it's Instagram, Twitter, social media, it's all one-sided in the sense of people's lives aren't fully on scale in these social media realms. And my point being is that that's kind of what I took away from the way the film was shot. Digital, perfect, glass-like, pristine, real world, 35 mil,
so great
gritty,
the way he did it.
like gritty, imperfect, and the idea of that we all kind of want to live in that other digital world, which is not real. So that being said, on top of that, the movie is highly entertaining, which is why it's awesome. It's the first race sequence is just one of the most incredible action sequences I've ever seen. Zach Penn, who co-wrote the film with Ernest Cline, is the last action hero homage in there. There's so many cool references. If you're a Back to the
Future fan, it's impossible not to love it. And I will say, Kevin this year had such a hard time numbering his 1 to 10, but in the back of my mind, watching Ready Player One, I'm like, this movie was literally made for Kevin and for people like Kevin, and I love all the pop culture references, of course. And it would literally be 12, 13, 11 on my list. I just had to do a 10, but it's amazing. It's so good.
And the Shining sequence is something that I think is going to go down as one of the most historical, I don't know, I love that sequence so much, and I think it just plays with Kubrick's movie perfectly.
And the romance element, too.
The romance is great. And
Olivia Cook and Guy Sheridan's really good.
I mean, Spielberg and Kubrick knew each other, so it's cool that they were able to do that sequence with The Shining, which was really awesome.
Yeah.
And I just found that scene to be so cool. And, with Spielberg having known Kubrick and worked with Kubrick, I think it's just cool that they were able to do a Shining sequence.
Very cool.
The score, Silvestri, obviously bringing him back and having him, because I think this is Spielberg's third film without John Williams.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look at the exact number, but
I think it's 3.
Yeah, I mean, he always uses John Williams, except for I believe with The Post he brought in somebody else, and then John Williams did this one. Or I'm sorry, the other way around. John Williams did The Post,
and then
Silvestri did this one.
Yeah,
so that's my number 1 of the year. My most anticipated of 2019 is probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh and Avengers Endgame, and also To All the Boys I've Loved Before sequel. I don't know when that's coming out though.
Yeah.
But and then obviously my full top 10 and honorable mentions. Highlights of my favorite performances of this year is on my site, dcfilmgirl.com, and Kevin is going to be talking about it on his, I think, holiday special for Fox 5 too.
Yeah. So if you live in the area, you can tune into Fox 5. You can listen to dcfilmgirl.com or follow our Twitters, which is dcfilmgirl, and then mine is Kevin McCarthy TV.
I think Oscar's ready to go.
Yes.
He's ready to eat.
All right, that's our top 10. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye, guys. Happy New Year.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.